Awesome. Hello, folks. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's Acknowledging Our Elders. I'm excited to be with you all and to be accompanied by Journey and Andrea. My name is Nathan Hunter. I'm with the Bronx River Alliance in New York City Parks. I'm going to hand it over to Journey just to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, welcome back and thank you for joining us again. I am Journey Bimola. I am the co-chair of the Foodway, Friends of Concrete Pond Park, and I'm also a clinical herbalist. So can't wait for today.
Awesome. Thanks, Journey. And today we are with Andrea Estrada. Andrea, you want to introduce yourself? Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is really exciting. My name is Andrea. Welcome, all pronouns. I have been studying herbalism for like 2 years now and consider both Nathan and Journey like mentors and teachers. So it's like really both an honor and just like very exciting to be present and in conversation with the both of you. I'm also a student of the Farm School NYC Citywide program, so hoping to be an urban farmer one day. Currently stewarding some spaces in the Bronx with Intervine, which is like a hort training program. Um, yeah, grew up in Jackson Heights, Queens. Um, just a lover of plants and the earth, and a student of the earth forever, in service to her. So, yeah, excited to be here. Thank you. Oh, and today I'm going to be talking about mugwort, and I'll pass it back to Nathan so that they can offer us the pronunciation of the botanical name.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for bringing us together in this moment. And I'm gonna just screen share real fast because we all love some visuals. And I always love just to take some time together to learn this plant's name. Plants have many names. Many know this plant as mugwort, right? But our botanical name is Artemisia vulgaris. And so we have this cute little pronunciation diagram or some pronunciation for us to kind of go through that. So it's Artemisia and vulgaris. And Artemisia is a very large family, but it's related to the asters. It's the aster family. I'm gonna return this back to Andrea, and would love to just hear, Andrea, why you chose mugwort and what your connection is with this plant.
Yes. I chose mugwort for many reasons, but I think mainly mugwort is a plant that I feel like initiated me into like the world of just being in relationship to plants and like our plant kin and just the earth in general. I met them. I probably met them many times before because they are so abundant in New York City, also, or Lenape, but I more like like consciously met them when I was in school up in Yonkers, at Sarah Lawrence. I was like 18, 19, and I would take a lot of walks by the Bronx River actually. So I feel like it's a nice moment to be here because I am also in a relationship now with the Bronx River Alliance. Um, so yeah, I met them, and I just remember being really like opening up like just a lot of curiosity around this plant, like who they were, what their story was, how I could learn from them. Um, and as I also began like just learning about the medicinal properties of plants, it was like one that really drew me in because of their support of dreams and like vivid and lucid dreaming. And as someone who has always grown up with having these like intense, vivid dreams, I was really curious to explore that dimension of mugwort. And I feel like they have just over time, getting to know them more, I'm just like really grateful for the ways that they really brought me back into my body and like taught me to just like find grounding in moments where um I was in need of like moments of like tranquility and like restoration, just like being in nature was that for me. And like Mugwort being there every time I came out was just like really comforting. And then I feel like it's so funny because when I entered the world of like horticulture and like stewardship, it completely shifted my perspective because I realized how aggressively it can grow and how mugwort's considered an invasive plant, um, or also a weed that can be the bane of like gardeners' existence sometimes just because mugwort can make it difficult for other plants to thrive and grow. Um, so that's sort of how I came to be in relationship with mugwort. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for sharing that. I mean, I appreciate from acknowledging both ends of it, right? Like the fact that you kind of understood kind of almost a popular understanding of the plant, which is that it's invasive, it is a problem, like it's the problem child of the garden. But myself too, I would also include myself in saying like I've relearned the plant and understood how much power and how it supports us in grounding every day, and it is everywhere. I mean, when you talk about going through like I picture you going through different parks, right? And there's like this familiar friend in all these parks, which can feel very um, safe, I imagine, you know, as you're going through spaces. And I acknowledge that a lot of people of color don't feel safe in these places. So to find a friend that is in all these spaces feels really special. Um, and I did want to kind of just take a moment to go to our next slide, which had a really kind of almost ASMR moment where you you share a recording of an experience where you find some mugwort, a friend in the park. So that's really nice and helpful because we get to see what it looks like in its native habitat. Um, and I'm curious, like how you use this plant. I know personally how I am able to access the plant, but do you use all parts of the plant, Andrea?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So when I first started out, like nurturing a relationship with mugwort, my intention was actually to use it for smoke medicine. So um, I was interested in smoking it in like herbal joints or spliffs. So it's funny because when I first was learning about mugwort, I didn't realize how abundant they were. So I actually went to a herbal medicine shop, which I always go back to. It's called Zola's Original Herbal Remedies in Jamaica, and they opened a shop in Crown Heights. And I purchased some mugwort for the use of smoke medicine, specifically for lucid and vivid dreaming. And then after that, I realized that mugwort literally grows everywhere, and I was like, never again will I be investing in this plant when I can just go out to my backyard or like to a local park, and forage for it. So I was mainly seeking out the leaves, but I recently learned from um, an herb, one of my herbalism teachers, Mandana of Wild Gather, which is a collective in the Hudson Valley that also provides like educational programming. Um, Actually taught me that the best parts for either burning mugwort or smoking mugwort are the flower tops. Um, so when mugwort like first comes out, they kind of come out in like close to the ground, basil, rosette, and they're like these early like green shoots that I feel like are most easily identified by their like silver underside that comes from their like very fine fuzzy hairs. Um, so if you're ever on the lookout for mugwort, that's one way that you can identify them. Um, And then I also recently was connecting to mugwort through teas. Um, it's mugwort's very has a very bitter taste, which I feel like as someone who has a sweet tooth and is just not used to like such bitter tasting medicine, was a little maybe off putting, but I like to blend mugwort or take mugwort in teas with like kind of like gentler tasting plants like rose or lemon balm or just like plants that can kind of balance out that bitterness. But I think the bitterness of mugwort is also their medicine. Like I know that bitter supports the liver, and that's why mugwort, or part of the reason that mugwort aids in like digestion. So before or after meals, like if I have a tummy ache, like just need some grounding, I can have mugworts like leaves in tea, boil some water. And I think the best time to harvest for like if you're making mugwort medicine with tea or an infusion is like the early leaves, or the shoots that come out right about now. Um, and then again, like I said earlier, like for smoke medicine, I'm starting to harvest the flower tops. Um, and then I've also recently have had it in tincture form as well. And my intention with the tincture was for mugwort support of the menstrual system. So for anyone who menstruates, mugwort like helps regulate and balance your menstrual cycle, and also like Journey, maybe you can help me out with the pronunciation of this word. Like it's an amenagog,
Emmenagogue. Emmenagogue.
amenagog,
Yeah.
which I believe means that it draws like blood to the uterus or the womb area. Um, is that how you
Well,
would?
anything that's an emmenagogue really is going to be working with the hormones, right? So it's going to be working with the reproductive um, parts and the hormones, really.
Hmm.
That's how it helps with the menstruation, right? With the cycles and things like that, because it is targeting the hormones, which is being produced by the endocrine system and then your reproductive organs as well.
Wow. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that and clarifying. Yeah, so I made prepared it in tincture with other like herbs that I, from my understanding, like help with like hormones and like the menstrual cycle, like red raspberry leaf and yarrow, and I think I had some red clover in there just for like nourishment. Um, and yeah, I would take the tincture, like especially if my like period was late or just like to support me in like heavy periods as well, like to provide some balance, nourishment. Um, yeah. So that's some ways that I've been connecting with mugwort so far.
Journey, I wonder if you have more to share about the plant. I know you were one of the first people that really reframed the plant for me, because my introduction is through a horticultural and like land management practice, which
Yeah.
can be quite colonized in thinking, like my thought process.
Yeah, like for me, just like Andrea, my introduction to foraging and was mugwort. Mugwort was the first plant that I've met, on the walk, and I smelt it. And Andrea, like when you first smell it, I was just like, this can't be bad. If you smell with a plant that smells like this, got to be special. So that was my first introduction. I brought it home, and then after that, like I've met other plants. Every time I go, it's like, oh, who are you? So mugwort has a very special place for me, and outside of being good for, it's known as the woman's herb, like that is one of its things. It's a woman's herb, but it's very beneficial also to other parts of the body, like the digestive system, like Andrea mentioned. Also, if you're having body aches, like after working out, right? After working out or your bones are aching, this is a really good one where you can draw yourself a nice bath and put some mugwort inside, and it's relaxing. It's going to help your the body aches. It helps tremendously with the body ache. It's also really good for diarrhea. If you have, diarrhea issue, you can take some mugwort, and it will help with that. So mugwort is also a nervine. It helps with the nervous system, which is the relaxing part of it, because it does have that effect of lucid dreaming, right? Whether you take the tea, smoke it, or just have, like, some people will create a sachet and put the mugwort inside and put it under their pillow so they can smell it while they sleep, so they can eventually have some type of lucid dreaming. I tried it once, and you know what it felt like? I don't know what you call them those dolls. I don't know if those are the Russian dolls when you take one off and then there's like another doll and there's another doll. So I did like Andrea. I smoked it, went to sleep, and I was awake in my dream. I was like, oh, this is what it's like. And then I woke into another dream and then another dream, but all of this different transition, I was aware of everything that was happening. And when I woke up, I was just like, what? What was that? that one really kind of like shocked me and took me out. But that's how I've experienced mugwort. I just like to have it around me. I don't use it a lot in form of medicine, right? But I like to have it around me, and it's one of my friends. So every time I'm outside and I see it, I always say hi. And yeah, it is very, very aggressive. But even in its aggression, what I've learned from it is that, and I try to embody, mugwort doesn't ask for permission. Mugwort is going to do what it's going to do. It's going to go where it wants to go. You can do whatever to it that you want. It's still going to be there, like, and what? And I just love that, because the different cycle, like right now in the spring, you see the little hairiness, and it looks one way in its early stages. And then when it starts to grow and goes into flowering, the leaves change. The leaves don't look the same anymore. So you can easily be like, oh no, that's not mugwort, because you don't see the hair as much. Like in the picture that's right there in front of us, where you see the leaves with all of the different points, right? That's what it looks like now. But as it gets older, it just becomes just one thin, it becomes thinner. So I find it amazing to see at its different stages of life. Yes, just like now with the flowers, if you look at the leaves, they look different when it goes into flower. And the flowers, right, are amazing. Like when you catch them right when it's flowering, it's not as reddish. You can see the what is that called? The pottery stuff. What is that called? Uh, the pollen. You can see the pollen. Like I really like to see in this early stage of budding. It's just so beautiful, and the smell is amazing. You can also use it as a smudge sticks. It's also amazing as a smudge sticks, because it helps to clear out the air, right? But it also, because it's a nervine, it helps to relax you. It helps to put you in a place where you're just, it's not going to put you to sleep, but it's just going to put you in a state of relaxation. And that, I appreciate that about this plant.
Thank you for bringing all that up. I was thinking when you mentioned pollen, just about how much pollen it does produce, and what a food this is, a food supply for our pollinators. And while we acknowledge kind of the nuances of its aggressive nature, right? We also acknowledge all the benefits it provides. And Andrea and I had a cute moment the other day. We were working in the overflow lot here at Starlight Park, and we found tons of praying mantis nests, and they were living on mugwort, on mugwort stems. So thinking about, is this a food source? Is it also a habitat for our pollinators? And it's really doing both. And then when you layer on the human aspects of this all, and how it benefits us, it's really an incredible plant.
Speaking of food source, it's also an excellent food source for us too. So the fact that it is aggressive and it is everywhere in Asia, right? Whether it is China or India, they actually use mugwort as a food source. You know what I mean? Like they cook with it. I've had mugwort soup last summer. It tastes really good. You don't get to taste that bitterness that you do when you make the tea, when you have it in soup or when you cook it. I was amazed. So the fact that it is everywhere, to be able to also see it and learn how to use it as as a way of food and getting nutrients from it, because it does have nutrients. It has flavonoids. They have a whole lot of vitamins and minerals in there. It's really good. Have you ever had it in food source, Andrea?
I haven't. I'm super curious. I don't know if I would eat it raw because I know that you can eat it as like a leafy
Yeah,
vegetable in salad. Um, but I'm really curious to try it in a soup or just cook with it. Um,
yeah.
I'm
Try
so
it.
curious to try the baths with it because as someone, working like doing physical labor, that takes a toll on the body. So I'm I that is yeah, I'm definitely gonna be trying that out.
Yeah,
Mugwort?
that's that thing that keeps on giving, and it's like you can do so many things, right? So you can eat it as a food, you can use it as medicine, you can use it as a smudge sticks. You can also use it. What was the other one? Oh man, medicine, food. There was another. Oh, you can also make mugwort beer. You know.
It's true. And I know the plant, I've ate it through mochi, like mochi ice cream, which,
Yeah.
for the sweet tooth, the people with sweet teeth, maybe that's our entrance to mugwort as an edible.
Yes.
Um, or
Wow.
rice cakes. I know they make rice cakes with it. I have a Chinese friend
Mhm.
that eats that. But yeah, I think it's just incredible the variety of ways that this plant is useful, yet at the same time it's villainized, right?
Yeah.
And I just love the metaphor, or the fact that it's known as a female plant, and then knowing everything that we've just mentioned about its resiliency, and it's like it's 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 just stalwart. It's not going to move. It's going to be where it needs to be. I mean, it's really a metaphor for women in our lives in this world.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like for me, I always feel like Margaret is always like, and I think that's why it's so, that's how I see invasive species or aggressive plants that just takes over, and there's just like so much of them. I see it as a way of the plant saying like, hey, use me, utilize me. I'm here in abundance, make use of me, because in other parts of the world, this particular plant is not looked as an invasive species, as a weed. Like it is a big top plant in Asia. You know what I mean? Like they don't, when it comes to mugwort, we only like, what mugwort over there? It's like everybody knows mugwort and all of its benefit, and it is used regularly. So yeah, I love this plant.
I was just thinking that. I was like, wow, I feel like we could talk about mugwort, and we do talk about mugwort all the time because it's so essential in our landscape now, or so because it's so ubiquitous. Knowing that the conversation will continue, I just wonder um, if there's any closing words as we end our kind of time together. This has been a really sweet introduction to mugwort, and really appreciate you, Andrea, for highlighting this plant and all the wonderful things it provides for you specifically, but also how that can transfer to our community as well. Do you have any parting words or like any last thoughts?
First, I just want to say thank you both to you, Nathan and Journey, for inviting me to share space and just like love up on Mugwort. I feel like, yeah, I really appreciated all that was shared by you, Journey, and always appreciate. And I feel like it's just a reminder of how many lessons Mugwort carries. Um, just so many reminders around like prioritizing rest too, like rest as a ritual, and like how our sleep states are sacred, like diving into this dream world where we can learn so much about ourselves and um, like find a lot of healing and transformative work. And then even like the communal aspect of mugwort and its and the fact that we all encounter at some point, but as well as like how to me it embodies this like communal energy because of the like rhizomatic roots that grow underground and are like literally holding one another. And like, yeah, I just think mugwort is a beautiful, profound plant. And although quite aggressive, like I just, my appreciation is boundless for them. And I'm really happy that we could talk more about them. And I hope that folks who are tuning in can maybe explore a relationship with mugwort as well and get curious about the ways that they might learn from mugwort or like benefit from them.
So beautiful. So well said. Journey, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much, Andrea, for coming and joining us today and bringing up mugwort. When I saw that, I was happy. So thank you so much for sharing the information and how you build up the relationship with mugwort and continue to have that relationship until now. And especially what you say about, although it is an aggressive plant, for you is all about that balance, right? You don't want to eradicate and get rid of it. You want it to be, balanced for everyone involved. So I really love that. And again, to all of you guys watching us, thank you for continuously showing up every week, right? And yes, take this information we're sharing, go out there and see if you can find some mugwort, right? Now, don't I'm going to say this, right? Don't do anything in terms of, if you don't know that it is mugwort 100%, right? Don't taste it. Don't do anything. Just look, see what, by looking at the pictures that we have and see if you can just learn to identify it, right? I don't want you guys to take on anything unless you are 1000% sure that that is the plant, okay? But other than that, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that reminder, Journey. Yes, as we talk about wild foods, we want to make sure that we are staying safe ourselves, and that also extends to the soils and knowing the place that you're foraging from. And so we do encourage you, if you're interested in engaging with mugwort a little more intimately, to come join us at the Bronx River Foodway at Concrete Plant Park, a safe haven, a safe place to forage, and a site we will be continually pulling and harvesting mugwort throughout the season from. So we encourage you to come out, and we look forward to the reopening of this space, hopefully in the next week. So more to come regarding that. But thank you all for those that are tuning in today. And next week, join us. We'll have a special guest, Elizabeth Paredes, joining us to talk about the raspberry plant and raspberry leaves. But until then, I hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Bye, y'all.